For those of you that don't know, I'm Maggie, and today I'm really excited to share with you my August favorites because honestly, the items that I loved this month come from a ton of different categories, and I'm just excited to share with you something a little bit different. So this month really got away from me. This video is going up a little bit later than I typically post these, but more on that in a minute. The first thing I'm so excited to share, our wedding album has finally come in, and I used Chatbooks to make both our wedding book and our engagement picture book. This one is so much thinner than our wedding book. It's not even close. We didn't go the traditional route. I didn't like print off 4x6s and slide them into little slots and stuff because I liked the idea of this being more of a coffee table book that we can have out all the time. So you customize the cover, you can customize the spine. So I put like wedding 2020, I put engagement, and I put the date. I kind of regret not putting the date on the spine of this of our actual wedding day, but you know how typically wedding photographers will take a lot of maybe scenery shots or maybe just like close-up images of your invitation and your shoes and your dress and stuff. So I was able to consolidate this book a little bit by putting like the collage style pictures of all of that, the up-close pictures of us. You can really see the chapel where we got married. We are just so pleased with how this wedding book turned out. In fact, my parents want me to order one for them as well. Now I have ours in the 10x10 size. And I'll tell you, I think personally this is the best size. I originally ordered our engagement book in a 6x6 and it is tiny, like 6 inches by 6 inches. I would suggest honestly going with the 10x10 if you're gonna take this route for really important photos like your wedding. But I will say things can get expensive rather quickly. Now, once I built this book out and included all of the 60 to 80 pages, I really don't even remember how many are in here. I paid $150 for this book, but my parents honestly thought that was a steal. They were like, that is so much cheaper than a lot of people spend on wedding albums, and this looks very professional and is what you wanted in the coffee table style book. So I was fine with the cost overall. You would have to weigh that, create your own book. I just love how customizable this is and how it's gonna be looked at all the time because it can sit out. It looks pretty on the coffee table. I also will have a referral link in the description. I do get a little bit of a kickback if you use that link, but I just had to mention Chatbooks because I have been very, very impressed with the quality. And as long as you have very high resolution photos, you can put them in full page pictures and everything turns out really, really nicely. So sticking with the theme of books, I have to mention our favorite cookbook of 2020. And this is the Defined Dish Cookbook. And I know I've talked ad nauseum about this thing, but seriously, I think we've cooked almost exclusively out of this cookbook this year. We have been really diligent about cooking at home 4 to 5 nights a week. We're really trying to cut back on the amount that we're getting takeout and eating out. And quarantine has really just fueled that fire. And so this has really been just such a good go-to recipe book. But beyond this, I did want to mention some of her free resources that we've also been enjoying lately and that I've actually put into my own little binder. I did want to show you these wonderful weekly meal plans that she's made. She includes these gorgeous photos and these really pretty branded laid out recipes. And so I just decided to create my own little cookbook using them since I accidentally already printed the pictures. But this was one particular week that we absolutely loved. So I'll be sure to link to this week's, and it takes you to her blog. She has a ton of free recipes, so if you're nervous about diving in and buying her cookbook just straight away, definitely try cooking some of the free recipes that she has on her blog, and I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. If you go down a rabbit hole and start following her, you're gonna realize she's ultra cool and you wanna be just like her. She has a lot of Mexican inspired dishes because she is in Texas. She actually lives in the same city as I do, and so maybe I just feel that kinship and I just really feel attached to her in that way, but you cannot deny that she has some really dang good recipes. So definitely check out her blog, and then if you cook a couple and they blow your socks off, the next step is to purchase that cookbook. I promise you won't regret it. All right, something else that I have been loving this month is the Libby app, and I know I'm so late to the game on this, and actually a ton of you recommended it to me when I was talking about things that I was reading and just how much I've been enjoying my Kindle. I think it is so cool that you can now rent library books on your Kindle, and this has been around for a really long time. I know I'm behind the times, but Libby is an app where you can rent ebooks and audiobooks for free. As long as you have a library card, you just log that into their system, then you have access to your library system's database of ebooks and audiobooks. Super cool. Now, another thing that I've been really loving about it is the fact that I don't have to go anywhere to get the book. I used to live legitimately next door to a library, so putting things on hold and walking next door to get the book was no matter. But now that I live a little bit further away from the library and I'm trying to put my Kindle to use more, this is just the perfect solution. I have been a reading fiend this month, and I know I've mentioned some of these things, but in case you were curious about what I'm reading, I've been really into the Sarah Morgan From Manhattan with Love series. So I've read books 1 and 2. I read books 3 and 5 last Christmas because they're more like holiday oriented. And now I'm reading book 5 because it was ready through the Libby app before book 4. So anyway, they are not cerebral in any way. They are just like definite, feel good, you know, just easy to digest books. And I just feel like that's what my mind needs right now while the world is a little bit heavy. And then I'm also reading another book that's actually a physical copy, and it's called If I Never Met You. Very good. It's also chick lit, just kind of like a little romantic comedy, but it has a lot of other like deep kind of underlying social issues, I guess, that it touches on, and it has been surprisingly good. My friend Kessler described it as like a Hallmark movie in a book, but I think it's even better than that. And I love Hallmark movies, don't get me wrong, but like, let's be real. You can predict all of those things. It's very cheesy. This one has some like surprises in it. Shockingly. Moral of the story, the Libby app has been such a game changer. If you haven't used it and you've maybe been reading a lot more in quarantine and you want to save the money, this is a great alternative. Next up is the product this month that surprised me the most, and that is this e.l.f. exfoliating scrub with purified water and vitamin E. Now, I got this last year around Christmas time for that DIY beauty advent calendar that I did. I was very proud of that. I think that y'all gave me like a $30 budget to work with. I polled you and asked like, what amount of money would you be willing to spend to make this thing? And so I did 12 days worth, and I was able to include a couple of full-size products. This was one of them because it only cost $5. Now, I was fully underestimating this and expecting this to be kind of like, I don't know, a lazy scrub in my opinion. I have tried so many different face scrubs because I feel like they come in subscription boxes all the time. Now, my favorite types are those that have the very, very, very fine little micro scrubby thingies that are found in like the Dr. Brandt scrub and then the Exfoliate scrub. This is so similar to that. However, I think that I honestly like this better because it is a lot more gentle. I feel like while it still has those super duper fine scrubbies, I don't feel like it's scratching my face in any way. I just feel like after I use it, my face is so soft. It has this wonderfully refreshing scent to it without being like overly perfumey or anything like that. It is very thick. Like when I go to squeeze this out, it comes out in like one long kind of strip. This stuff is so good. If you're somebody like me that really likes that exfoliate and that kind of texture, you would really, really, really like this. And again, it's only $5. I am so impressed by this. So impressed. I can definitely see myself repurchasing this because surprisingly, this is the last kind of face scrub that I have in my little arsenal in the bathroom right now. I have worked through all of my other ones. So this one is definitely on the repurchase list for sure. Next up, sticking with e.l.f., I have really enjoyed this little bite-sized eyeshadow cream and sugar palette, if you will. Just this little quad of eyeshadows. I feel like this is just really simplified eyeshadow. Gone are the days where I'm longing to have all of those really massive palettes with a ton of colors where truthfully only 4 of which I would use. Now, typically I'm always reaching for some sort of neutral palette, and I still stand by the Too Faced Naturalized palette. That is one that has, I think, 9 different shadows, but I legitimately use every single one of them. Can't say enough good things. But this one simplifies eyeshadow just a little bit further, and this is something that is so easy to travel with. You have your very clear transition shade here. Both of these shades work wonderfully all over the lid, and then I'll typically reach for this dark brown just to put in the outer corner. I'm not really one that uses eyeshadow as like eyeliner or anything like that, but if you are, this is dark enough and pigmented enough to work like that for you. This is also dirt cheap. I don't even remember how much this cost. I think it was like $3 or $4, and there are a couple of other colors that I want to try. I just think that the shadow quality on this really is so good. And truth be told, I haven't been wearing a ton of eyeshadow since I work from home every day and will be working from home every day for the foreseeable future. But when I do use eyeshadow, this one is always just sitting in my makeup bag. It's very close to everything else I'm using, so I'm always reaching for this. My only complaint is that this little transition shade doesn't show up on me. I swear that this shade is like my skin tone in an eyeshadow, so it doesn't do much to actually kind of like darken the crease or add any sort of definition there, but it does do like a tiny bit of something. I wish it was just a tinge darker. Next up, this lotion from FabFitFun blew my socks off. Now, this comes from the brand Spun Gel. It's just marketed as a hand cream, and it's in the scent Coconut Verbena. The smell of this lotion is the best. And it's so funny because I was like, I'll just put this on his bedside table. He's out of his lotion. And I'm so jealous that I gave this to him, but he won't give it back because he loves this thing too. And it's effective. Brian has said good things about the lotion itself. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It moisturizes your hands. It says it's infused with shea butter, macadamia seed oil, and argan oil. But the scent, Coconut Verbena, every time he puts this on, I can smell it. And I'm like, it smells so good. And now, I mentioned that these favorites were all over the place, and to prove it, I'm gonna talk to you now about a coffee canister. This is the Airscape coffee canister, and this has been a game changer for us. At first I was like, this is a little bit frivolous. Like, do we really need this coffee canister? But it smells so good. Brian has a coffee grinder, and so we always buy whole bean coffee. And it is a little bit tricky to keep that fresh for a long time. And so this was kind of my solution when we were going through the registering process. It has this little top that seals shut, but then it also has this piece inside that really mashes the beans down, sucks all of the air out of the canister, and keeps everything super fresh. So all you do to access the beans is just lift up this handle, and then you pull this out. And you can hear it pop like that, and then the coffee beans are all inside, remaining super fresh and airtight. That's why it's called the Airscape canister. So when you put this back in, you can really hear the air kind of being sucked out. And once it touches the coffee beans, all you do is just put the handle down and it secures it. So it's all in there safe and sound. Now, we've also been trying out the Trade coffee subscription service, and I did an entire video on that. It was actually the last video I posted. So I'll include that as a link for you in the description box. But we have loved it because we love coffee. We drink so much coffee in our house, but we just wanted to make sure that we were keeping everything fresh. So this, in conjunction with that Trade subscription, has been great. Now, with the Trade subscription, just FYI, and why I'm even mentioning it, is you get full bags of coffee shipped straight to your door on whatever frequency you choose. And the cool thing is that they're shipped straight from the roasters, super fresh, like within 24 hours of them roasting the beans. And so whenever they come in, if we're gonna open a bag, we wanna make sure that we're keeping it as fresh as humanly possible. This could also work with ground coffee, so don't feel like if you don't drink whole bean coffee that this won't be useful. Absolutely not the case. We have really, really loved this, and it looks nice with all of our stainless steel appliances. It's not like an ugly canister to have out on your counters, you know? And next up, a wonderful purchase of this month was our Peloton. Through my employer, we actually got a pretty good deal on a refurbished bike. And to me, in my head, like a refurbished bike in Peloton land probably means that somebody bought the bike and then used it as a clothes rack in their room or something. They just didn't get much use out of it, so they returned it. The bike is looks 100% new. There is not a scratch, there is not a spot. I used the bike probably for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I started experiencing a lot of pain in my left knee. And at first I was so scared that I had done something on the bike to injure myself, which was just extremely devastating, one, because I've been cycling for like 4 years and have never had injuries on the bike. I've never had issues with it. And so I'm like, what on earth did I do differently at home? Well, after a couple of doctor's visits and an MRI, it turns out I have something that's called plica that has come unattached in some part of my knee and is lodged behind my left kneecap. So I'm actually facing knee surgery in like a week. So unfortunately, I have not been on the Peloton a lot recently, so I don't have like a ton of exercises to share with you. But for the 2 to 3 weeks that I was able to ride it, it definitely satisfied that itch that I had to get back cycling. It is my 100% favorite way to work out. And if you're somebody who's been really hesitant on making that purchase and you just feel like it's too much, if you commit to riding it, I promise it is a worthwhile investment. I think they have such a huge variety of classes. You can also take classes in a bunch of different modalities. So if you would rather do yoga, they also have running, they also have Pilates, they have stretching classes that you can all do through their app with your membership. But cycling for me is my primary way to work out, which turns out is actually very, very very good for your knees in the long run. So the surgery is pretty minor. I'm never going to be on crutches. They said that I should be back on the bike like 4 to 5 days after surgery. Of course, doing pretty low impact things as I get the strength back up in my leg. So good news and bad news, but I did want to share with you that the Peloton has been absolutely wonderful. I think it is a super high quality product, and I understand the hype behind it now. I just can't wait to get back on the bike. Okay, and the last couple of items are all clothing items, and it's what I've been wearing this whole video, or at least one of the items are. And I have just had the best luck with Fabletics recently, and I had to share with you. After having Fabletics for like a year or two now, I have found a couple of my favorite leggings from them. The Trinity high-waisted pocket leggings in the 7/8 length. Absolutely love those, and I think that they're super high quality. I still think that their outerwear and their comfy clothes, that is their forte, in my opinion. A couple of things that I wanted to share with you that have just knocked my socks off lately. One of them happens to be this little sweatshirt. It has this little tie in the back. It's kind of open backed, which is kind of silly for a sweatshirt, but in Texas, while things are in the fall and we're just like slowly easing into those cooler temps, something like this is completely appropriate. This is not the best sweatshirt to wash dishes in, I will say. Because this doesn't have the elastic around the wrist, you can't like pull your sleeves up and have it stay there. So that's kind of a little bit annoying, but I'm not washing dishes a majority of the day, so like I'll survive. So anyway, this sweatshirt actually came with a matching pair of sweatpants, and they're kind of a flared leg. And I bought this because I was like, Brian, this is gonna be my surgery recovery outfit. It looked so comfy cozy, and the pants fit in such a flattering way. They had this really, let me just get them. They had this really thick elastic waistband at the top, and then they have these really nice seams that run down the front, and they just fit your leg in such a flattering way. It's like tight toward the top, and then they just flare out toward the bottom. But it's still really different from my like super tight leggings. Like, I feel like I just need to get in the habit of wearing things that aren't constricting me all the time. And this was just the perfect answer. And can't you just see being cozied up on the couch in this in the fall time and wearing this as maybe your pajamas in the winter, how cozy that would be? Very, very excited about this little set. And this is new for the month of September. So all of these things that I'm mentioning should be available. I got this blue sweat set in the size extra small, both in the top and the bottom. But when you go to buy outfits on Fabletics, you can customize the sizings. If maybe you typically wear like a medium in the bottoms and an extra small on top, you do have the option to customize that. Another great September find is this little bra top shirt situation. I love this little wine kind of burgundy color. I definitely don't have anything like this in my current workout rotation. And I feel like this would match with a ton of the leggings that I already own, like the army green ones and anything black or gray. Now this is actually a bra top. So you can see you don't even have to wear a bra underneath it. It already comes with its own sports bra built in. And isn't that so cute? It's like ribbed. I just feel like this could be worn as like a legitimate top. So I love the versatility of this, maybe wearing it with some leggings and a jacket or a long sweater or something to go run errands. I think it's super cute. My sizing in the bra top, I got this in a small. I kind of waffle between extra small and small in their sports bras, but because this was meant to be more of a bra top, I knew that I didn't want this to be like super duper constricting or super duper tight. So the small works perfectly to wear it more as like kind of a bra top shirt, but I can still exercise in this because it is still plenty supportive with that little sports bra on the inside. And this last item I have just been wearing non-stop, and it is this very simple little cropped black hoodie. The fabric on this is blow your mind, super soft. Think kind of like Lou & Grey, if you own anything from that brand. This is rivaling the softness of their like signature soft stuff. Super cropped, I will say, but I have a lot of kind of like cropped workout tops that work really well with it so that I don't have like shirt tails hanging way down. And this entire line from Fabletics is made from recycled materials. And I think that it was on sale when I bought it. So I think it normally retailed for like 60 bucks, and I want to say I got it for $40 or something like that. This I feel like is so versatile in the black color. You could probably wear this with jeans and little sneakers and a little like white cropped shirt or something like that. But then you can also wear it with your workout gear. So, and that is everything for my random hodgepodge of August favorites. If anything was of interest to you, as always, I'll have everything linked in the description box down below, along with all the videos and everything that I kind of mentioned throughout this video. So if you like this video, then like it, stick around, subscribe, join the community, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.